Here we are at Chapter 15, Investments, which is the flip side of what we did with long-term liabilities last week. In this chapter, we're going to look at and do the following exercises. So as we go through all of this, be sure you pay close attention to accounting for a trading stock, or a security, which is actually a stock, accounting for a debt security, which is a bond, and using the equity method to record an investment, which is this one right here. So I'm going to give you an overall basic view, and then we'll move on to the Chapter 15 hints. So, and I think the hints are pretty good, so they should help you throughout this. In this chapter, we're going to look at investments, why companies invest in other companies, why, how they're categorized, and then how they're valued and recorded. This is a fairly complex chapter, so we're going to kind of be selective about what we look at. I don't believe it is as complex as Chapter 14. I believe this one's a little more direct for you, so, but still, be patient with it. And please email if you have any questions. There are three basic categories of investments. One is a trading security, and that's a stock or a bond that's held for a very short term. You have available for sale securities, which are stocks and bonds that are neither trading securities or maturity securities. Now, what does that mean? That means, let's say you have a car, and then you see another car and you buy it. The second car you bought isn't your primary car, and if somebody came along and said, oh gee, I'll give you $3,000 for that, you'd probably sell it. That's kind of what an available for sale stock security is. It's not really being held for long term, and it's not really been bought for a short-term investment. It was just bought almost in speculation. And the final one is held to maturity debt securities. Long-term bonds is usually what this is. And I know you all love bonds by now. Okay, each have a very special place in the company's financial or investment portfolio. They're kind of layered so that you've got all of your bases covered. You've got a long-term one. You've got a short-term so that you can turn around very quickly if you need cash. And then you have that available for sale. It's sort of a, like I said, a speculation account. And each one's valued. The value, how you value them is different. Trading security and available for sale securities are valued at fair value. Market or maturity securities, it's kind of odd here. They're valued at what they're purchased at. And as you go along with your amortization, that amortization changes the value. So they're valued on the books a little bit differently. There's some really new terms you're going to be looking at. You've got equity stock, or securities, which are stocks, preferred or common. You have a debt security, which is a treasury security, a municipal. You could get a municipal bond, corporate bond, and there are other securities that you could possibly pick up for an investment. And finally, this fair value keeps popping up. I think most of you already know what that is, but I'll just cover it again. It's the price you would receive if you sold it in an orderly transaction between market participants. And market participants, this is the main one, is what it's going to go for on the market if it's available. There are two methods for reporting long-term or investments. You have the equity method. And this is when you're dealing with marketable securities. If you purchase enough securities or enough stock to own more than 50% of that company, you're going to have to value it or report it as a consolidation. Otherwise, you're going to report it in the equity method, and that's the method we're going to be looking at. Consolidations are going to show up in advanced accounting. I'm not sure we'll even cover them in intermediate accounting. So just concentrate on this equity method right now. And of course, we're going to look at some disclosures. We're For trading securities, any change in unrealized loss or gain is going to have to be reported or put on the disclosures. Anything available for sales, you're going to show it at aggregated fair value, and pretty well keep everything as transparent as you possibly can. Held to maturity debt securities, they're going to be reported at aggregate fair value, the gross of the unrealized holding gains and losses, and unamortized costs. So you want to keep your investments as transparent as you can for the people who are looking at your financial statements. And finally, we're going to touch on derivatives. And this is the bane of the financial world. We won't do much, but we will do some accounting of it, and I believe the way we're going to deal with it is I'm going to show you an activity and we'll walk all the way through it together. These can be really confusing, but they are absolutely fascinating as you look at them. So that's a chapter. Those are some of the basics of it. Remember, we're going to do an activity on trading securities, we're going to do one on debt security, and we're going to look at using the equity method for recording an investment. So let's move on and go to Chapter 15 hints. Have a great day.